responsibility as you become a benefit to the community.
We test the audio, let's see. Paul, let him test the audio. Let's hear him. It's 1 minute to time. Can you speak in there? Okay, I can hear you.
Hello. Hello.
Yeah, Peter. Yeah, it's clear. It's clear.
So here you select the headphone.
Earpiece. If you have earpiece,
automatically, so it's okay.
Assuming you use another audio, they have to use
You
that.
have to select. Can you select it from the TV and microphone? So you select.
Paul, does he have an earpiece or earpod?
Use a full screen.
Hello.
Well, that's.
So we are not sharing. We have stopped the sharing.
Okay.
So that's all I'm saying.
There's almost 4.
No, this is an earpiece. Is the earpiece not connected?
It's not picking up.
It's not picking up. Okay.
Hello.
Talk.
Hello. Hello.
Okay.
Can hear the cars and ice cream selling.
From your end.
Yes.
In the house.
I mean, before. Yes, I could hear them before, but now it's gone.
Hello, Peter.
Yes, I can hear you.
Hello.
Hello.
We are live now. It's not coming.
You talk.
Hello.
Like an introduction.
We're trying to get things underway. This evening we are looking at integrity and other subject matter in wealth creation.
Talk.
Hello. This evening we are looking at integrity and financial discipline in wealth creation.
Okay, you said it's okay.
It's okay now.
Yeah. So are you ready to go?
Yes, I think. Then it's in the studios, they will do ones for you. Already sticking everything from them. So the recording, if you want to record, okay, let me also, can I go from here?
Yeah, I can go from here. So we should start.
Yeah.
Are you starting?
Yeah, you can share the screen now.
Yeah, we'll share this.
Okay. So that they can see. The link, I don't have it.
Which one will YouTube? You have your WhatsApp here.
You guys are connected to record on. Let me go and find this map, but then I'll remove it. That's part of it. Welcome to our second edition of our monthly series on financial inclusion. It's been interesting for the last month, and currently I'm happy to be here again. And I guess you can also connect with us on YouTube Live by searching Ansfit. And I'm wearing my nose mask for a reason. We have to observe the protocol. I have my team around, but I have to observe it. And then we have to do a social distancing to ensure that we are all safe and manage the pandemic. We owe ourselves the duty to live and to also to support others also to live. And so on this note, I want to welcome you all to the second edition of Financial Inclusion for You, and for you to also know that we are not in normal times, and for that matter, we all need to ensure that we are supporting the system. I guess we have Ben Niben on the line. We also have Zinabu. Welcome you all to this session. We are expecting others to join, and I believe that we'll be able to get the key objectives of this program underway. Let me hear, can I connect? So Ben, those who are, let me hear from you per your responses. Let me hear from you, Ben.
Hello.
If you are there, let me see by hand if you are there.
Right here.
Ben,
Yes, Mr.
can
Klingsley.
I hear you?
Yeah, I can hear you
While we are
loud.
waiting for others to connect, we also looking forward to some of your views. So this evening, we are looking at integrity and financial discipline, wealth creation. Let me do a bit of recap of the previous conversation for those who be their first time of connecting, and for those who connected previously, but there are a few things that they could not capture. We're looking at how financial inclusion addresses poverty and can eradicate poverty, because it gives individuals the opportunity to appreciate the various financial services that is available for ordinary people to use as a tool to drive financial inclusion, and at the same time to support the ordinary people from or getting out of poverty. We realize that millions of people are living at debt poverty, and that is a source of concern for the global community, Africa, and Ghana specific. Many things are happening to our young ones and even to the older ones, leading them into all manner of activities that is unhealthy. And so it is important that we address the issue of poverty and also how finances can be addressed. And so this evening, having looked at poverty from our previous session, we'll be looking at how do we get out of poverty? how do we succeed properly and out of poverty to the extent that we may not engage in other things that will lead us into all form of wrong decisions that will lead to many finding themselves in trouble. And like I said earlier, we are on YouTube live now. All you need to do is to search Ann Street TV. Just search for Ann Street TV, and you connect live. Or you can connect with a link that we shared on Facebook. You can go on Ann Street Finance page, and you will see the link. Just connect. We also have Agenda 1 Million. Those of you who are connected to Agenda 1 Million, you can go on the link and also connect. And then you can also go on my own page, Kingsley Hayford, and you can also connect from there. If you don't have any Facebook account, you just have to go to YouTube on your phone and just search for Ann Street TV. And once you click, you see it live. This evening, the team is integrity and financial discipline in wealth creation. This evening, I'll be having some few guests who will share their thoughts. And so once they come online, I'll let you know, and we'll be able to pick it from there. So I want to once again welcome all of you. Those of you who have not connected, we look forward to your connection. But those who have connected, this evening is going to be an awesome moment for us to move into. Before I move into the main conversation, let me just briefly talk. Ann Street Finance is a tax and financial advisory firm. Our key services include corporate finance, tax advisory, and we do personal financial advice service and wealth management services for individuals and institutions and families. This evening, I want you to know Ann Street social responsibility is also to reach the world and our society with the right knowledge, the right principles to be able to live healthy and a proper life. Let me inspire chaotic when it comes to wealth creation, and everybody is adopting all manner of methods to get there. And so this evening, I'm trusting God that we'll be able to shape the thinking of everybody who, for some reason, is desiring to create wealth, but a bit confused as to what mode, what approach. Your situation may be bad, but guess what? We have no option than to get the job done. And so, like you are viewing on the page, you can see the team integrity and financial discipline in wealth creation. You can connect Ann Street TV YouTube. The meeting ID is 89187975086. The passcode 971885. Facebook is there, Ann Street Finance. And then you can also connect through your Zoom with a link. That I know. I can see Austin. Austin is in. Austin Fair is in. Austin is in, and we are getting there. We'll be taking off soon. Like I said, let me also talk about Agenda 1 Million project. Like I said, Ann Street social responsibility is to reach 1 million people. And our strategy for the 1 million people is not necessarily getting 1 million people on our page, but we believe that we want to have the core who will support the vision, and then the rest is me reaching out. And every stage where I do presentation, thousands and thousands of people are listening on television, on radio. The numbers are being added on. And the strategy is that as long as you connect to Agenda 1 Million, Answers Finance, and you listen to any of our audios, and you connect to our audio, we believe that will impact you and that your life will never be the same. Because we tell the truth and we don't stretch the truth. And this evening you will discover that stretching the truth is not worth it. But maintaining the truth, saying it as it is also a moment to share. So on our page, you will see that Agenda 1 Million is a social project, like I said, and by the grace of God, we are pushing the project. I am seeing Kofi Aki on the line. I believe he'll be sharing his thoughts as we go along. I'll call him in on some financial integrity of it. And so we are getting people on board. Gradually, that people are joining. That is why I'm taking the time for people to appreciate our social project, apart from our financial and tax advices that we offer to individuals and we offer to institutions and families. And we believe that you can connect with us so that our team will also support you to get your finances right. You need an expert to guide you, just as you need a medical doctor, a legal advisor in all that you do. So again, Personal Finance Today is a book that Answers Finance through the lead partner brought, and we are doing a review, and we believe that by close of the year to be available for everybody to have access to the review one. There is also another book that is coming, which is almost ready. That will also be announced, and then there will be a third one. So we also believe that we also need to put it together. And so the Personal Finance Today, personal data and financial implication is key. And so we also had developed a CD, an audio one, which is also available. It's a CD. You're going to get it on the pen drive. They are also being converted, pushed into a pen drive, so you also have access to it. Since now most of the equipment that we use are USB driven. And so I believe that we'll be able to understand. This evening, we're looking at the subject of integrity and financial discipline, wealth creation. And we believe that this is a subject worth discussing as a second edition. We'll be moving into the key conversation when it comes to financial inclusion, but we are laying the foundation. And the first foundation that would be laid is look at poverty. What should drive a person to say, I want to get out? If the person is poor, if the person is having financial challenges, if a person cannot survive, if a person has a difficulty in managing his life, finances, basic needs of life, this is enough reason. This is enough motivation to say, I want to create wealth. And so the first foundation of life of this program is to look at the poverty issues and how to get that, which we discuss extensively. And as we go into the presentation, we'll be giving some key reminders of that conversation so that it will fuse into the discussion today. Integrity and financial discipline and wealth creation, as a second edition, was also chosen for strategic reasons. The fact that you are poor, the fact that you want to get out of poverty, does not mean that it's a ways and means approach. It's a ways and means approach. And so this evening, our program outline why the need for integrity and financial discipline and wealth creation. And then part B, we're looking at fraud and integrity challenges. We look at the global Africa and Ghana situations, what is happening, so that we want just people to appreciate the fact that if we are discussing the subject of financial integrity and financial discipline and wealth creation, we are not just discussing it, but there's a foundation, there's some development globally that is pushing many people to do what is wrong with a belief that they want to solve their financial challenges, and that whatever it takes, they will do it. That is something that we cannot allow the society to go that path. And so, on the basis of that, Answered Finance believe that we need to put up this topic and to address it. And so, fraud and integrity challenges will be looked at. And then we'll look at integrity and wealth creation itself. Then we'll deal with financial discipline and wealth creation. And then we'll draw the conclusion to this conversation. And I believe that this will inform the world, Africa and Ghana, to be able to look at the conversation of wealth creation, not in isolation, but considering integrity and financial discipline. So if you just join, we are moving into the conversation proper. And so I've just laid a background and also answered purpose to be able to look at that. And then, like I said, as we get to the final stages, I'll be allowing some key people to share their thoughts and also to contribute to the conversation. And we have our 3 people we have on the line. Mr. Kofi Aki, also a chartered accountant and project management experts. And I believe that he will share his thoughts. We also have Ben Yemu, who is also a financial analyst, excellent finance guy, to share his thoughts. And then the last person, also, I'm yet to see online, it's Nelson Senanu. Nelson will be sharing his thoughts also on this subject. So once they are in, I'll just let you know. So we'll move into the conversation proper so that we can address it. The problem of the day is how many of us factor integrity in our desire to create wealth. Is a key question. How many of us, if you look at the picture beside the statement, problem of the day, you see, it takes time for anything that you plant to grow and for you to even have a seed. And so, if you don't have patience, if you are not prepared to do it right, there is no way, as we are seeing, growing and to bear fruit. Plant a seed, any seed, whether tomato seed, mango seed, and you pour hot water on it every day. I guess you will get it right. Meaning that you want to make sure that you want to get results immediately. Hot water. Or you don't even water it at all. There's challenges. So many of us want to create wealth, but there are the ways and means approach is quite disastrous. And that means there's a problem. We don't have patience. And so anyhow, any means, we want to get it done. And so this is what I want you to think about as we go along. How many of us factor integrity in our desire to create wealth? If you factor it, you realize that wealth creation is a process. If you factor it, it means that you need patience. If you factor it, it means that you need to be consistent in what you are doing. If you factor it, you realize that you have to do it right. And so this is a question, and I believe that we can answer it at the end of the day. That is the problem of the day. And I believe that the world, those of you who have just connected, like I said, you can watch it Facebook Live, YouTube Live rather, looking for Unstreet Finance, Unstreet TV. Just search for Unstreet TV and it is live there for you to be able to enjoy the program. This is Food for Thought 2021 and beyond. This is one of the key codes that you'll be seeing me putting across all the time, because the depth of the subject matter cannot be little, or you cannot overlook it. That is the US Secretary of State, Gordon Hall, 1945. And if you go back to the first edition presentation, it is there. We want to resolve it. So it's a key reminder. It's 2021 and beyond. We want to see that this is addressed. He said that the battle for peace has to be fought on two fronts. The first is the security front, where victory spells out freedom from fear. Maybe that we might have achieved it, but maybe unfortunately, we may not have not been able to achieve it. But the second is the economic and social front, where victory spells from freedom from want. There is a financial needs of people. That is the second phase. Are people economically free? Can they depend on the resources that they have? Can they survive? Are people meeting the basic needs of life? Are the wants and needs of people being addressed? This is a subject we're discussing. I believe that financial inclusion for you, 2021 and beyond, we want to constantly remind participants of this program of this subject so that we can be able to address the very challenges of humanity. Again, there's Mandela, President of South Africa. That's another important statement that we cannot leave. Food for Thought, 2021 and beyond. That's why I caption it. He says, our common humanity transcends the oceans and all national boundaries. Let it not be asked of any of us, what did we do when we knew another one was priced? This is a critical statement by the President of South Africa, former president. May he so rest in perfect peace. It's a powerful statement. This evening, what I'm doing and your participation is enough reason that we are doing something about the subject of poverty, about the subject of acquiring wealth, properly, so that the basic needs of life can be addressed. The people, the team, many people are going through. Yes. I guess we had a slight challenge. I think the network is very bad. So the network is very, very bad. And so, yes, Mr. Kufiaki, I think we've acknowledged your comment, and I think we are back now. So let us know if you are getting the feed. If you are getting the feed, let us know. So we are monitoring the chat side as well. If you can send us that everything is intact, then we know. Other than that, we are back with the screen. Okay, thanks, Mr. Kufiaki. Thanks for your monitoring, and we are back. And so the key element here, is about what then is wealth creation if we so desire to have it. It's a process of investing in different asset classes where the investment will help in fulfilling key needs. What it means is that once you are creating wealth, you invest your time. Once you invest your time in any activity, whether working for somebody or not, you get income. That income may be set aside continuously, month after month, week after week, year after year. And then on the basis of that, you can accumulate wealth and store it for future use. Where you do not want to just keep it and you want to multiply it, the net effect is that you grow it through value addition. Once you invest in shares, once you invest in any financial instrument, the returns that come in the form of interest, in the form of dividend, in the form of profit, you add up. And so if you are doing business, it's a portfolio. If you are buying financial instrument, it's a portfolio. And even when you are saving it at the bank, just a savings account, it's a portfolio. Even if you put in your current account, you are not any interest, but you see you are accumulating it. So therefore, the accumulation of it is key. And therefore, wealth creation is on that process. For most people, wealth creation of this is about growing funds, like I said earlier, to meet specific needs. Growing funds to meet specific needs. Everybody has a need. There's something that you want to address. It could be shelter, it could be education, it could be clothing, it could be anything. But you have to address it. So some people, by virtue of their situation, want to ensure that they are free from debt. Because if you owe so much, definitely, it means that you are not creating wealth. You are rather borrowing and struggling to pay. And so getting out of debt is one objective. Making sure your retirement needs also address one objective. And saving for all manner of things. And so wealth creation is important. And it's one thing that everybody must seek to know. The key question here, do people really deploy the tools below to create wealth? And if you are watching the screen, the two tools here are the integrity and financial discipline tools. The question, do people really deploy the tools of integrity and financial discipline to address the challenge of wealth creation? These are issues of great concerns. do people really? Sometimes in your quest to create wealth, it is quite difficult when you come to a point that people want to give you gifts, but the mode of the gift or whatever they want to do for you is not in line with integrity. And these are issues that, so the question is, do we deploy the truth tonight or this evening? This is the key issue that we want to look at. And before we look into this subject, there are basic issues that we need to address. And it's important that we address that one. Now, before we go into that subject matter, I want you to know something. The global situation. Before we deploy in the integrity and financial discipline, there are few issues to be looked at. You see, in our attempt to get out of poverty, many things people do. And there's a global report, PwC Global Economic Crime and Fraud Survey 2020, that looked at means by which people want to create wealth through fraud. Because if poverty is on the high, if people want to meet their needs at all costs, if people want to address their situation, they may adopt all manner of things. And so I wanted to bring this area to the notice of all of us to look at what is going on through a research by PwC Global Economic Crime and Survey Report 2020, just last year, and look at the issues that emerged. Some of the issues is that they actually quizzed 5,000 respondents, meaning that they interviewed about 5,000 respondents across 99 territories about their experiences of fraud over the past 24 months, meaning 2019 and 2020 itself. And they're asking things like whether they have been hit by fraud, and how many times, what type, or what they've done to prevent it happening again. These are questions that they raised in the survey. And 47% of companies experienced fraud in the past 24 months. That is one of the revelations of this report. 47% of the companies that they dealt with in the process through interviewing of their staff and people across. Again, nearly half had suffered at least one fraud, with an average of 6 per company, meaning that 6 people within the company have been suffered fraud here and there. The most common type were customer fraud. We have cyber crime, asset misappropriation. These are issues that came up in the report. Again, the total cost of this crime, this fraud issues, an eye-watering $42 billion that cash taken straight off companies' bottom line. And 13% of those who experienced fraud said they lost almost 50 million plus. This is quite revealing. $42 billion. This is what is happening. And if you look into this matter, you realize that all these people, their objective is to create wealth. Their objective is to meet their needs. It's the basic water, clothing, shelter, education, maybe social recognition. These are factors. That is why we indicated in the earlier presentation, the key reminders, we'll come back to that, from the earlier presentation of poverty, $42 billion. In the same report, they indicated that only 56% conducted an investigation into their worst fraud incident. Meaning that when this fraud occurs, most of the companies sometimes overlook it. But in this survey, they discovered that 56% conducted investigation into their worst fraud incident. Or many people, those who even had experienced this fraud, trying to investigate. Sometimes many of the business don't do anything about it. And so this is the global situation. Even when it comes to fraud, there may be other reports, but I just picked the PwC Global Economic Crime and Fraud Survey report so that we can see what is happening and what are the factors. These factors is purely on poverty driven, purely on the need to meet basic needs, and purely on the back of greed. Because some people, no matter what you do to them, they want to have everything. And that is also a key factor. This is also another area that also came up. I was looking at the Sub-Saharan African Fraud and Corruption Report. It was conducted by SNG Grant Thornton in 2020. And this is what happened. 100 individuals were surveyed in the whole report. And this is the conclusions. 61% of the respondents experienced fraud during 2020. That's what happened. 37% prosecuted the perpetrators, and 5% are still investigating the incident. 11% of the respondents took no action, while 6% agreed on settlement payback. The stolen monies returned for no charges. They also found out that the settlement agreements are not ideal, as most of these fraudsters do not learn their lessons, and they perpetrated the same fraud with their next employer, making it a vicious cycle. It tells you something here that a lot of people who are working are committing one fraud or the other. This is the ordinary person working in various companies. And this is also worrying. Many people are working in state agencies, private companies, global, multinational companies, and a lot of them talk about the fact that they are creating wealth, only that some of them are involved in one fraud or the other. And now that is what happened in the research. Now, in the same research, they came up with some predictions, what they should expect in 2021. And this is what the respondent also said. He said 77% of the respondents said that they expect an increase in fraud and corruption in 2021. And I guess you agree with me that even here in Ghana, many things are happening from the business community, from ordinary employers, from the people on the street. And recently, the latest development on the ground, where people find ways and means to create wealth, to the extent that if you are driving and your doors or your doors are down in terms of rolling it, somebody will come and talk to you on the right side, and the other person will pick your phone. When your doors are not locked, they can open it and pick items from your car. This is quite worrying. If you go to the bottom, you agree that these people just want to survive. And so the importance for organizations to be proactive in the fight against fraud is critical in 2021. And this is on the rise. And we believe that this evening in this program, as we go along, we appreciate the situation where we find ourselves, how to resolve it. In the same research, 60% of the respondents said that employees are the current biggest fraud threats to their businesses. This is quite worrying and also revealing. Employees, those who are even working, and they are being paid some level of income. They are being paid some level of income. They are even committing fraud, meaning that either their income is insufficient, or They are greedy. Because for those who don't earn income, you will say that they are poor. And so therefore they want to do anything. But those who have jobs, it means that it's about greed, or the income is insufficient, meaning that they earn income, but it's not enough to take them home. Somebody earn income of 200 Ghana cedis, and his total cost budget for the month is 1,000 Ghana. Obviously, how is he going to finance the 800? This is a contributing factor. Of the 18 most common anti-corrupt controls, these are issues that they came out. They wanted to find out that what is the best way that we can prevent this if we want to stop this corporate fraud. We have about 18 common tools that can help. The top 5 they mentioned, that 60% say that the code of conduct and ethics of organizations must be improved, and government and state agencies must be improved so that it can reduce such manner of fraud. And this evening, I believe that the conversation that we are having this evening is somehow looking at the ethics and the code of conduct of people, the personal values and beliefs and principles of people that we believe that people should watch. Again, about 38% indicate that internal audit department can help, meaning that internal audit department ensure that internal controls are properly addressed, and if they do that, it will help. Again, they say anti-fraud policy. They need to come out with policies that will prevent people. And then 37% also said that fraud training for employees is critical, meaning that if you train people to know what is going on, they may stop it, or they themselves can prevent others from. And then about 50 hotline, where the whistleblowers can also help in the decision. Again, in our own country, Ghana, this is the Ghana situation. Bank of Ghana also came out with a report, Banks and SDR Fraud Report 2020 by Bank of Ghana. And let me read the intro of what they said, and it's quite revealing. Is that there is a definitive overview of various attempted or perpetrated fraudulent activities recorded by Bank of Ghana and SDR. It presents industry position for the period 1st January 2020 to December 31st, 2020. That is the position of the industry. The reported value of fraud for 2020 is 1 billion Ghana cedis as compared to 115.51 million recorded in 2019. Compared to the global one that was conducted at PwC, we are 42 billion. Ghana, we are talking about 10 billion Ghana cedis. That has come out of forgery of straight advice. And again, an interesting revelation that came up with the Bank of Ghana report is the fact that the COVID-19 pandemic resulted in the surge in the use of digital electronic platforms for financial transactions considerably. And we all agree in the COVID era, we virtually have to move into an arena of what? Using technology to make payment and to get goods and services underway. And a lot of people took advantage of this digital product and services. And then they were hit by various fraud. And so therefore the security of the internet and the security of various platforms become an issue of concern. And this happened in the e-money, the ATM card frauds in that report. And if you have an opportunity to read the whole report, you understand, but I don't have to bring the salient point here. I will look at the value of the fraud. This tells you that a lot of people are desperate. They want to resolve poverty. These are hardcore facts. And that if you want to address, then we have to show people the way. The key poverty reminder, I said in the previous report, these are reminders in the Financial Inclusion for Youth series that we will not, there are certain things that will remind ourselves consistently. And it says, by Oxfam report, if poverty were an infectious disease, which could be caught by the rich as well as the poor, we would have been eradicated long ago. political will, financial resources would have been found in abundance, just as they were to develop instruments of mass destruction during the Cold War. COVID-19 is a classical example. This was predicted in 1995. This was a statement by Oxfam that says that the rich and the poor gap is there. Let us address it. 1995. How many years down the line? These are serious issues. But we did not. Meanwhile, when COVID set in, today, government is investing in vaccines, and we clap for them. They should use the same approach to address poverty. Look at the fraud figures in Ghana, 10 billion, $42 billion globally. It tells you that our society is in crisis. There's chaos, there's greed, and that we need to let them know that wealth is a process. It takes time. A key reminder of the poverty situation: 689 million people live in extreme poverty, surviving on $1.9 a day. It's a fact. About 40% of the region people live in less than 1.9. Africa, Sub-Saharan Africa, 40% of the people. Extreme poverty rates double the Middle East and North Africa. And this is worrying. These are key reminders. And these are things that will remain in my presentations as long as we go on the series. That is not the issue here. They are key reminder again. Africa, 490 people, 90 million people abject poverty. Europe, 92.4 million people. Asia, 320 million people as of 2021. This is a key reminder. It tells you that integrity and financial discipline, do people deploy them in their quest to create wealth? These are questions. That's why the topic today, do people deploy the tools of integrity and financial discipline in addressing their wealth creation? Specific country, key reminder: Nigeria, 40 million people in abject poverty, Ghana, 3.5 million plus, Kenya, 7.8, South Africa, 30 million, UN report. This tells you that if Bank of Ghana is reporting 10 million fraud incident cases, even what is outside the banking sector, this is the industry position. What about the manufacturing sector, services sector, other sectors of the economy? We have not even captured it. If we go by that incident, 10 billion, and we talk about other 7 sectors, then we are talking about 70 billion Ghana cedis. That is getting to fraud. And people, these are committed not only by the extreme poor people, but people who are even working. And they believe, to their knowledge, that either their income is not sufficient or they are being paid well, but greed is their problem. And this evening, those who are connected to this program, and those of you who connected later watch on YouTube and Street TV live, will understand that the situation at hand is critical, and the tools of integrity and financial discipline, if not deployed, is a serious matter. The key reminder here is the fact that SDG, United Nations, want to address it. They have identified the problem and they want to solve it. No poverty, zero hunger tells you that people are in difficult situations. Quality education, gender inequality, clean water, decent work and economic growth, affordable and clean energy, good health. This is what is confronting the ordinary persons and humanity. And in their desire to solve it, they may want to solve it through the wrong means. The key question again, can integrity and financial discipline help in resolving this issue? That's the key question. Have we come across the key words and values, beliefs, and principles? There are certain things that we believe in that There are certain things that we believe in. There are certain things that we believe in, and we may think is the truth, but only to realize that it is not true. What do we value? What have we been trained? If your value system, in terms of maintaining honesty, in terms of being taught what to do right, being taught the right things, if you don't have values that believe that you don't need to do the wrong thing, you are likely to find yourself engaging in an unhealthy process of wealth creation. If your values are solid and your beliefs are grounded in best practices, on the scriptures, and certain important books that talks about integrity, ethics, and the right way of doing things, then you may have principles. So therefore, principles will also guide you. These are keywords. You can look for the meaning, you can look for the, these are things that our children should have. We should also have them, and that will guide us in the process. And so therefore, if you look at the definition, I may just paraphrase it, you realize that there are keywords. To live in accordance with your deepest values is important. Means you live in accordance with your deepest values. So if you don't have values, that is deep inside you, that one, I'll be honest. One, I'll be honest with everyone, and that I'll keep my word. If you don't have these things, it's a problem. Deep values can shape your integrity principles. The benefit of integrity in life. When you adopt integrity, you have deepest value. Number one, when you live with integrity, you are more likely to be considered for important promotions, leadership positions. It's very important here. These are the important traits when you begin to deploy integrity in whatever you do, your wealth creation process. When you are honest with everyone, you always keep your word. One of the benefits of integrity is that you are honest with everyone and you keep your word. If you cannot do it, you cannot do it. If you can do it, you can do it. And these are issues. Let me say this as a personal experience. Just yesterday, somebody walked into my office and then says that he wants to come and greet me because he's been chasing his invoice up and down, and for some reason he's come to check, and he has not met me before, and this is the first time he's meeting me. And then he walks into my office, and after putting up his statement, just remove an envelope, and so you can take this from me since I'm meeting for the same first time, and trust me, the deepest value in me. And I told him, I don't do that. I don't do that. This is serious. The person was shocked. I said, I don't do that. I don't do that. So please take it. And this is still serious. If you don't have values, do you know what is going to happen? This same person will go somewhere and say, I gave him this. But when you pass the test of integrity, you'll be promoted. You'll be promoted in any form. What can integrity do in a chaotic situation of wealth creation? I just want to bring this important quote. A faithful person will be richly blessed, but one eager to get rich will not go unpunished. This is one of the things that can resolve the chaotic situation. If we understand this and always remember this statement, anytime the test of integrity comes, you pass. Practicing integrity, in other words, living on 100% integrity when it comes to wealth creation. Number one, if we talk about integrity, I brought the scripture. This is a scripture. Anytime you remember the word of God, that a faithful person will be blessed. But if you take it wrongly, you go unpunished. If you remember this, it will be the anchor on which other things will sit on. Now, the second most important thing, practicing integrity. This evening, the practice. How do you practice it? Sometimes we are talking, somebody's about this is theory. Yes. So I'm going to give the process. How do you practice it? If you want to live a life of integrity in wealth creation, how do you do it? So this evening, the how is being presented here. The first box, number one, never do or say anything that wouldn't make your mother and father proud. Let it be a guide. If you want to practice it all the time, if your mother hears that you have collected money from somebody wrongly, is he going to be proud of you? Anytime you think about that, then you are cautious because you'll be tested. But there are certain values, principles. Number two, don't cause harm, encroach on others' property, violate moral laws, or damage the environment. Never cause harm, encroach on other properties. What are other properties? If you take government of Ghana money, it's not a property. If you take Ghana government lands, it's not your property. If you take your business sales away, it's not property. These are things that you do. That is what the other global reports were saying. Then another way of practicing integrity in life and in wealth creation is that don't even stretch the truth. It just isn't worth it. Don't stretch it. Anytime you want to stretch the truth, you add something to that. Truth is simple. No, yes, I won't do it. Simple, but don't add because if you do that, you collect it straight away. This evening, I'm enjoying the conversation myself because this is something that I really believe in. Then the next point: don't lie, insult, cheat in the pursuit of financial wealth. In the pursuit, don't lie, don't cheat it, don't cheat at all. Fifth point: never choose expediency over integrity, because no amount of financial wealth can replace a good night's sleep, a clear conscience, and a peaceful mind. Very key ingredient. I want to resolve it fast. I need money today. I need to buy this car tomorrow. I need to get it done. My friends are moving. I need to. So the fastest the way you want it, you compromise on integrity. Take your time. Wealth is a process. In fact, they are not going anywhere. All those, look, let me tell you something. If somebody buy the latest Benz in 2021, if it is registered, in 5 years' time, when your Benz come, his Benz will be old, yours will be little. So the person is not going anywhere. He's just around. You overtake him. So if you plan the way you buy your latest Benz, to say that the next 5 years, I'm going to save month after month, and 5 years I'm going to buy. The person will see you and say, oh, wow, I like your Benz. Meanwhile, 5 years ago, you were trying to envy the person. So therefore, in your attempt to buy the same Benz at that time, you will not get a good night's sleep. Number one, maybe you go and borrow. You borrow and then they'll start chasing you. Number two, you may want to take your employer's income, create some deals. And look, you cannot, that is why the good night's sleep comes in. And your conscience will affect you. You will never have peaceful mind. And finally, the rule is simple. It says that if it doesn't feel right, then it's proper, isn't it? The second point, if you don't feel comfortable telling your spouse, your children, and parents what you are doing, then you are probably shouldn't do it. Very simple. These are how to live it 100%. And I hope that our viewers on Street TV, the world, Africa and Ghana will look at these issues seriously and practice integrity. Question, is financial discipline critical at this time? If you want to resolve your wealth creation and you deploy the tool of integrity, meaning that you want to do it right and follow the system, then you must have a particular tool to help you. Because if that tool is not there, then using integrity, you may lose out. If you adopt integrity without financial discipline, you will die as a poor man. You will die, and it's like life is not worth it. You may commit suicide. Why did God create you in the first place? And so, Proverbs 13:8 is that he who ignores discipline comes to poverty and shame. But whoever heeds correction is honored. Very important, discipline. This is scripture. This is God speaking. And so if you are a church person, or you go to church, you pray here and there, every day, and you are not disciplined, please. These are principles. And so financial discipline refers how well you are able to conform your spending and savings to the plans that you have set to achieve your monetary goals. How well you conform. So there must be a spending and a savings plan, well thought out plan to create it, to live it. And so therefore, if discipline is a key anchor, therefore he said that wealth is the cumulative result of many little things added together and compounded over a lifetime. That means your daily habit will make or break your success. This is very deep insight. And we look at the second, he said, look, there's the need for persistence and consistency. Persistent and consistent effort in everything you do. In other words, wealth building requires discipline. Simple. So when you go into the principle of integrity and you imbibe it and practice it, if you don't add financial discipline, you will regret it. Because the discipline will cause you to save and meet your need. What is the benefit of financial discipline? Number two, no unplanned expenses. Everything is planned. To ensure optimal inventory, meaning that you always do a review of your stock of issues and choose the one that you want to adopt first and the one you want to do first within your income levels or range. You always maintain positive cash flows. It aids in achieving targets. It helps in your vision. Whatever you want to do in life, even if you want to be an evangelist, you need money. You need money to take car. You need money to buy microphones to speak the word. It improves efficiency and better negotiation skills. You are always disciplined because you cannot go and increase your cost. You negotiate properly. And these are benefits of discipline, financial discipline. Financial discipline, life choices and implications. If you want to address your finances, there are certain things you have to watch. Those of you who are married, marriage, what are your choices in it? The choice of woman, the choice of things you do in a marriage. Courtship, you meet a lady, and the demands alone can kill you. I'm not saying I don't support, but if the demand is too much, if you're financially disciplined, you just caution the person. Now look, if you really want us to be together, you want us to plan, I think you better sit up. Teach the person in love. Don't do it in anger. And if the person will go, give the person some time, you come back and say, I'm sorry, I think I should have listened to you. Number two, giving birth. Giving birth is not bad. But as Africans and Ghana, it's quite stressful. Just after marriage, the people expect you to just give birth, as if they are going to pay the school fees. No. As if they are going to help you in the medical bills. No. After you give birth and you can't do, they say you are responsible. The same people tell that you are irresponsible. So therefore, my principle is that if you think you cannot give birth, don't give birth. If only it's accepted. If you think you can only give birth to one, two, three. And these are because every childbirth you give, it increases your cost. Every child you add, 1, increase 2, increase 4, increase 5. That is the problem of the ordinary people. And that is why if you check the white, a lot of people are moving to an average of 1, 2. And it's happening. And that is why you see in the global world, some of them can leave a legacy, inheritance. Even the decision to own a house or rent a house, you have to be very careful. What type of house will support your current level of income? Must you build at the age of 30? Must you build by 35? Because the amount of load you put on yourself can shut your system down. If a vehicle can take 100 kilograms of goods and you take 200 kilograms, the car will not go. So most people are dying. Young people are getting pressure, diseases, because they are doing what they should have done. They have to do at 40. They are doing something that the fact that we are sharing financial knowledge does not mean that you have to build a house by 25 years. It's dangerous. Even visiting the site and inspecting the site alone, and the way the laborers are taking things that can give you stress. So people are getting sick. It's quite worrying. The choice of good health, eating well, vegetables and other things, drinking more water is very important. Sleeping, these are choices. And also the fact that you prepare for retirement. These, if you do, it will have implications on your finance. And this is why discipline is coming to your wealth creation. You ought to be disciplined because the scripture is simple. It's simple scripture. He who ignores the discipline comes to poverty and shame. Simple. Very simple. Now, if you look at your choices and you are clear, then the key factor here, you must have an aggressive savings plan. I call it aggressive because there comes a time that you need to be disciplined in your investment. It must be a culture, it must be a habit. Why am I saying that? You can do 2% based on your situation. You can do 1% based on your situation. You can do 3%. Depending on the hole you are in, it will tell you the percentage you can do. But on a more serious note, this is an aggressive position. Why do I say aggressive? I am looking at it from the banking sector. Averagely, the banks over the years, there are certain rules and some tests that they've done that if a person takes a loan, they shouldn't deduct beyond 40%. So there's a range of 0 to 40% that they have to stay in, meaning that everybody can live on 60% of their income, technically. That's what the banks believe. Let me cite a typical example. If you go and pick a loan of 10,000 Ghana cedis, and you do not use the loan to buy, let's say, dresses, keep some at home, spend it, and you take the loan to buy land straight away, what it means is that you paid for the land. The 10,000 is gone. The next month, the bank will do the deduction. You see, if you are used to eating outside consistently, immediately, the bank deduction of the 40% of the loan will bring some financial discipline to you. So then the bank starts disciplining you. You stop eating outside, eating home, and the loan is for 4 years. And because of 4 years, you now adopt a new lifestyle. So the loan that you have taken alone and the deduction alone gives a certain discipline to you. Now, if you understand this analogy, then I say that if you want to address your finances quicker and for stability, then do the aggressive strategy of 40%. These figures I've given here is without interest. I'm assuming that you don't want to put the money anywhere, you just want to accumulate. Now, if somebody is earning 100 Ghana cedis, or let me pick some figures, 100 Ghana cedis, and is doing 40%, that's 40 Ghana cedis a month. For 1 year, it's 480. 2 years, 960. 3 years, 1,440 Ghana cedis. 10 years, 4,800. If you look at the line, it's there. Somebody who is earning 1,000 Ghana cedis, 40% is 400 Ghana. In a year, he can mobilize about 4,800. This is without interest. In 2 years, 9,600. And in 10 years, 4,800. Almost what? 50,000 Ghana cedis. Somebody who earns 2,000 Ghana cedis, 40% is about 800 Ghana. In a year, 9,600. In 2 years, 19,200 Ghana cedis. And in 10 years, 96,000. That is, if interest will come, you hit more than 100,000. Just 2,000 Ghana cedis. And that's an aggressive approach. This is why you are preparing towards your retirement. If you are 40 years and you are 30 years, you want to start your business in 40 years, you can use this aggressive strategy to build your 40 years capital to take off. If you are 20 years, you can do by 30 to take off. If you are 50, by 40 years, 10 years strategy, you are in for your retirement. If you are earning 5,000 Ghana cedis, 40% of 5,000 is 2,000. In a year, it's 24,000. In 2 years, it's 48,000. In 3 years, 72,000. In 10 years, it's 240,000. This with interest, you will hit beyond 400 to 500, half a million Ghana cedis. And that's almost about $100,000 or less, around $90,000 to $100,000. And so I present you the aggressive approach. And I believe that you'll be able to be financially well. How do you practice financial discipline? Again, I'll come back to the practice. Be realistic, number one. Set realistic goals. Set realistic goals. In other words, setting unrealistic goals is like playing with fire because you cannot. Number two, make a list of everything that you want to do. Number three, focus on budgeting. And there's a rule, 50, 20, 30 budget. The 20% for saving, 20% for need, 30% want, and then 50% consumption. Get a clear picture of what you want to do. Save a specific amount each month. That's why I said aggressive. Set goals. Be specific with your goals. And then practice mindful spending. This, if you practice, you'll be fine. There's a way of practicing integrity. You practice discipline, and the anchor sits on the scripture of discipline. My conclusion: we need ethical financial leadership. Ethical financial leadership. This is my new theory and the research I'm going to do. Ethical financial leaders. The next generation of Ghanaians, the next generation of the world, Africa and the world people, we need ethical financial leaders. And I can pick one woman, Oprah Winfrey. I try to find out whether she has done something wrong in her approach to create wealth. Because what I know is that she has to go through her radio program, TV, television program, in that approach. And everybody is signing on. And through that, she made a lot of money. I'm here to find out if something went wrong in the process. Ethical financial leadership, growing your own wealth ethically and joyfully, so that you can lead by example for friends and family to rise above the bounds of financial mediocrity and follow your footsteps. That is the vision of Answered Finance. And that is my personal vision that I want to prove to people that it can be done. It can take 10 years for me to complete my nice apartment. Somebody can use 2 years, 1 year, but go and check the details. They can't talk about it. They can discuss their work because they lack ethical financial leadership. Many people cannot talk about it. They cannot open up. It is my vision and it's my dream that we have millions of ethical financial leaders that would drive the next phase of Ghana's economic growth, Ghana economic transformation, Ghana political landscape, and then the business leaders and a solid workforce who will not engage in fraud, but will grow their work. Key reminder again, the difference between you and your friends in life today, in the next 5 or 10 years, when it comes to poverty eradication, will be the choices in life after this session. After this session of financial discipline, integrity, and the practice of it, there'll be a difference in those who pursue it. I was tested yesterday twice. That is my own experience. Just yesterday, twice. One. And even one of them even transferred money into my account. My mom, the person called me, have you checked your account? I've sent something. I said, what? Some message. I said, let me check. When I check it, I saw the money. It's not like they say, it's in your account. And I told him that I'll transfer to you. And so if you transfer a fish, I said, me too, if I keep a fish, I have to transfer. The test of ethical financial is no joke. When you are born poor, it's not your mistake. But if you die poor, it's your mistake. Why? The scripture, Proverbs 13:8, it's clear that discipline, if you're not disciplined, you get back to shame and poverty. And finally, the food for thought for 22 and beyond, and that to the glory of God, is the fact that Jeremiah 17:11 is that any person who acquires wealth dishonestly is like a bird that hatches eggs it did not lay. And he goes to say, in the prime of life, that person will lose the riches and you'll be nothing but a fool. What is a fool? When you have sleepless nights, a good night's sleep, if you don't have it, and your conscience is eating you, you can get sick. You don't have a peaceful mind. And you cannot tell your spouse, your children, and your mother and father cannot be proud of you, and your society can never be proud of you. Then I say that you lack ethical financial leadership skills. And on this note, I bring my presentation to an end, and now I want to invite my key persons. Number one, in the person of Ben Yemu, to share his thoughts on the subjects that we've discussed so far. And I'm believing that you'll do justice to it. So Ben, if you are in, I'll be very happy if you can get in and share your thoughts on the subject, and so that we can all also learn from you. Just after, we'll have Mr. Kikofi also to share his thoughts. Then, and any other contributions will come from members. So Ben, I think we are ready to hear your thoughts and learn from you as well.
Good evening to fellow participants. Good evening, Kingsley.
Hello, Mr. Ben.
Yeah, Kingsley, can you hear me, please?
Okay, I think if Mr. Ben is not
hello, can you hear me?
Well, I think we can go to Mr. Kufiaki, and then we can get back to
hello
Ben later.
Hello,
Mr. Aki. If you can connect, let us hear you so that we can appreciate your thoughts.
Okay. I think
Ben
Mr. Kofi. Yeah, I'm speaking. I think Mr. Kofi Aki can hear me. I think the topic that you discussed today is very intriguing: integrity and discipline. And in this era of COVID, where everything has become online and e-commerce, get rich quick too has become the burden, and it's become a social canker to our environment, that a lot of people are trying to get rich without the work. They don't want to put in the work. So the integrity is not there. You can't even trust your employees or people that you work with. And when you're working with people, it's about trust, because you cannot keep eagle eyes on all the golden eggs. I just want to zero in on financial discipline, as you mentioned earlier on in our discussion. We look at discipline. Discipline refers to the way of behaving that shows willingness to obey rules or orders. But when we talk about discipline, most people equate discipline to social behavior. But discipline also applies to how we manage our monies. And without a plan, how can you be disciplined to follow the plan through? Because basically, financial discipline refers to how well you are able to conform to your saving and spending habits to your plan. So how well you are able to align your saving and spending habits to your plan. And for you to have a plan, you need to have a monetary goals. You need to have a financial goals, where you want to be, where you want where you foresee yourself in the future. There are ways to restrict frivolous spending. What are the ways that you can restrict frivolous spending? Let's look at people in the formal sector. For instance, you are on a paycheck. So monthly, your income hits your account directly. So what you can do to monitor frivolous spending is having a standing order in place where a fraction of that amount quickly is deducted into your investment fund or emergency fund, or high interest earning and savings accounts. That is one of the major ways to restrict frivolous spending. So at the end of the month, maybe 20%, a fraction of your income goes in standing order is in place at on your accounts. You quickly deduct it. We have to be accountable to our spending. We have to be ability to track your spending weekly helps to stay accountable to yourself. This will aid in tracking impulse buying. So your ability to, after a long day from the office, in the evening, you should be able to pencil down what's your inflows today and your outflows today. What have you spent on? That's one of the ways to restrict frivolous spending. So each night, you should be able to just pencil down. You can even use your phone to just pencil down what you spend on and the inflow that is left. That's one of the ways to restrict frivolous spending. I think Kingsley mentioned ways to practice financial discipline. We have to set realistic goals. Some of our goals are not realistic. For instance, you are saving maybe 300 cedis a month out of a fraction of your inflow. Then your goals are to buy the latest Benz. Your goals is to buy a plot in East Legon. This is not realistic goals. And when the goals are not realistic, you cannot be able to achieve. And failure to achieve such goals, you become, the impact, it won't be even desirable for you to even save more, because you lose focus on saving. But if the goals are very realistic and can be achieved, it pushes you to follow through your plan. So one is for you to have a plan, for you to have a short-term and a long-term plan. What's the immediate thing that you want to achieve? Maybe in a couple of months, maybe this year, my financial goal is to maybe go back to school. My financial goal is to acquire land. My financial goal is to get this. My financial goal is to save this tune of money. It becomes a short-term because it's 3 months or 12 months. But long-term goals, like what Kingsley mentioned with the data that is shared about your 40-year plan, your 30-year plan, saving, accumulating funds for a capital investment in 20 years' time, that will be a long-term decision or a long-term plan. So you can follow a long-term plan and have a short-term plan too. Make a list of your monthly expenditures. A lot of us fail to be financial disciplined because we don't have a list of our monthly expenditure plans. But if we are able to have a list of it, it's going to assist us to be able to track what we spend on. whether the expenditures are statutory expenditures, like so some expenditures are there we cannot run away from. Our electricity bills, our water bills, our transportation costs, our grocery shopping and other things, we cannot run away from. So we need to make a list of them and we prioritize our income, match it to the list. In economics, they say scale of preference. So we need to have a scale of preference of our monthly expenditure. We should also focus on budgeting. Budgeting is not about limiting yourself, but it's about making the things that excite you possible. So when you have a budget, you are not limiting yourself, but you are making the things that will excite you very possible. So you are going to live within your budget. You are going to spend within your budget. You are going to have a specific fraction of your income, save a specific fraction of your income monthly. And one thing that is very basic is most of us don't spend on our needs, don't spend on our wants, but we spend on our needs. We don't spend on our needs rather, but we spend on our wants. Needs are something that we can't do away with, but wants is something that everyone desires. All of us desire. All of us wish, for instance, maybe this afternoon I'm watching the cable TV, streaming my DSTV and watching all the football matches. That are wants. That is not need. So we should be able to spend on the needs, not wants. We have to change our ways. When you are thinking about the future, you are mature to think beyond the little things and save up for something that really matters. So when we have a focus of what we want to achieve in future, maybe we want to save some tune of money and maybe enter into a different business or a different venture. You want to build that property for yourself. You want to invest in your children's education for maybe in the next few years. Probably you want your children to go to school in abroad, or you want your children to be able to access education to the highest level. You have that. It will shape how you spend because you are able to save for that. Don't forget to pamper once a while. Even when we have financial discipline and we try to discipline ourselves so that we don't live beyond the budget and other things, we shouldn't forget that we should also pamper ourselves once in a while. We should also tap ourselves on the shoulder and say, okay, I've been able to follow through with this plan. Tonight, let me eat pizza. Just for that, to give yourself, or let me go out, let me enjoy myself more. Because it's very tiring. It's very tiring when... Hello, Kingsley.
Yeah, I think that's excellent talk that you've added. I guess it's very excellent. I'm happy to hear the other side of it. We have Mr. Kofi also to add something to. He's also going to share his thoughts on it. So at this point, Mr. Kofi, one of the project management experts, not only in Ghana, in the world, and a chartered accountant. Mr. Kofi, let's hear your thoughts, and everybody want to hear from you. Excellent presentation for Ben, and I guess Mr. Kofi will add his to it, and then I guess other people can bring their contributions, and then we can have the presentation closure.
All right, can you hear me?
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
can you hear me? All right, so I'll try to make my contribution very brief and as much as possible get straight to the point. I'm not really going to spend time talking about financial discipline because I think Ben did justice to that. Kingsley, you did justice to that in your presentation as well. But I just want to zero in on the issue of integrity and wealth creation. So from the definition you gave from integrity, and if you look up the definition of integrity, there are key elements that come together to indicate what it means to say that someone is a person of integrity. One of the key elements which also came out in your definition is that of honesty. And I just want to zero in on some of those key stuff because it is very, very important, even being able to have that discipline on your finances, as Ben eloquently explained. You have to be honest with yourself. That is the first point, the first part. You have to be honest with yourself and also be honest with people. There are people who are not even honest to their own selves. I mean, they live a life of duality and always have excuses for the things they do, right? You need to be honest with yourself, and you need to be honest with other people. That's a key element of that concept of integrity. And the other part I want to also zero in on is the strict adherence to values and principles. So a person of integrity is a person who is honest and has a strict adherence to moral values and principles. So that it's important to have values. It's important to have principles. If you have none of those, there's no way you can actually talk about being a person of integrity, because that is an essential part of being a person of integrity. Having an unflinching commitment to your values and your principles, right? So we know values are things that are important to you, right? And we're talking about moral values. And I think most of us here on this call know what that means. So I just want to emphasize that in order to be able to build sustainable wealth, you can create wealth, as Kingsley's presentation has shown. People can use all kinds of means to create wealth, but you want to make sure that the wealth you're creating is sustainable. And history has shown us that people who have built their wealth based on discipline and integrity have had their wealth last a long time, even when they are gone. And history has shown us that people who have built wealth not based on some of these essential characteristics, sometimes the wealth doesn't even last their lifetime. So yes, it's important to create wealth to address issues of poverty, but how you create it is important. And Ben has talked about the need for discipline. And then there's also this other aspect of the need for integrity. And so it is very important that we really understand the elements of being a person of integrity and ensure that we adhere to those elements. Be honest to yourself, be honest to the people you deal with. If someone is inviting you to a meeting and you can't make it, say that I can't make it. If you agree to a meeting at 2:00, make it a point to be there. I mean, there's this concept where people talk about African time and Ghana time, and the meeting is scheduled at 2:00 and people are there at 3:00. I mean, that is not being honest. If the meeting is 2:00, make it a point to be there at 2:00. And that also dovetails into the issues that both Kingsley and Ben talked about in terms of discipline, right? I watched a video that was talking about how people succeed. And the person was saying that most of the talk we hear people talking about motivation, being motivated. But the fact is that success is based on discipline, not on motivation. Because you can be motivated, and if you are indisciplined, it will not lead to success. So it is important. Discipline is very, very, very important. And one of the key factors of being a disciplined person is living a life of integrity. And I just want to end my contribution and talk about why is it even important to maintain that life of integrity and discipline. And I just want to go back to scripture. I'm a Christian, so I can do without talking about the Bible. If you go to Proverbs 11:3, it says this: the integrity of the honest keeps them on track. The deviousness of crooks brings them to ruin. I repeat, the integrity of the honest keeps them on track. The deviousness of crooks brings them to ruin. And then I also want to end it with a quote from arguably the best wealth creator in the world, Warren Buffett. He has no match, at least as to now. He's the master of the game. And this is what he said about integrity. And he says this in relation to those of us who probably would have businesses or be in positions of authority that will need to hire people. And this is what he says. He says, if you need to hire somebody, you have to look for three things. Generally, you want to look at a person intelligence, energy, and integrity. And this is the important thing he said. He said, if the person does not have the last one, which is integrity, then forget about the person's intelligence and energy. It's not going to work. So it's important. This is why it's important. You can be the smartest person ever in the world. If you lack integrity, you lack discipline, you would not make it. Thank you for the opportunity.
Happy to have this powerful contributors to this program. I indicated to them that today's program, they will need to share their thoughts. And I'm so impressed with the level of research and the inputs that they've made to the program success. And it's amazing. Thank you, Mr. Kofi, and thank you, Ben, for just a wonderful contribution. I think millions of people will be watching this program on Anstreet TV, on YouTube, and I guess that we've done justice to the topic. I know other comments will come, and at this point, we want to invite anyone on the platform now who wants to share his own experiences, his own thoughts. We believe that diverse integrity issues from experience and discipline from experience is there. And so we cannot leave the program or this seminar without hearing your thoughts. And so we have Kojo Ban, who is on the platform. Kwame Sapon is on the platform. We have Emmanuel, which is on the platform. We have Zinabu on the platform, and many others. So at this point, any of you can, we have Peter. Peter is also on the platform, and we're very happy to hear your thoughts, final thoughts, and then we can bring the presentation to an end and look forward to another interesting session in the month of October that will touch on another level of financial inclusion. At this point, we are open for your comments, additions, and subtractions. Just show by hand, we'll just connect you. I think we can see Sapon. Sapon, you can
Hello.
make a comment. Yes? Let's go ahead.
Hello, good evening. Good evening, please, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Yes. I must say it's been a wonderful presentation. Above all, I love the financial discipline bit, which was the first one, and some kind of pragmatic lifestyle that we need to have as young people to be able to save money. And the bit that I love most, which prompted me to make a contribution, is from Mr. Kofi Aki, who said that it's all about integrity and discipline. If you don't have it, well, forget about being rich. I think it's been wonderful. Thank you very much for the opportunity. Really appreciate it.
Sapon, I'm happy that you have also wrapped up with this powerful contribution. And then also we have Kojo Ban, are you there? And then also Zinabu. Any contribution from there, then we will bring an end to the presentation. And I believe that our next session will be on another topic that will transform, will bring a change, and also to ensure that society is better. So Kojo, you can go ahead. We are listening to you. Hello? Hello? Kojo, we can hear, yeah, you can go ahead. Yes, you can go ahead. All right. Yes, so I guess at this point, we'll bring the program to an end. And I want to make this important statement that financial discipline and integrity works together, and we must have it as part of our lives. If you're able to focus on these two, one, we can have a good night's sleep. Number two, we have a clear conscience. And three, we'll have a peaceful mind and live long and enjoy our wealth, and our society will be a better place. And above all, that we produce as many ethical leaders as far as financial inclusion for you, powered by Ansfit Finance. And we believe that we can also support you with advice on our services. And you'll be seeing more of our services coming up so that you can buy into, so that you are guided to achieve wealth. On this note, I want to say thank you for joining the presentation and this Ansfit Finance, this financial inclusion for you, and also as part of our project Agenda 1 Million, courtesy the support from all of you and for making this day possible. And also to find out to say, God, we thank you for all that you've done for us and for making this presentation possible. Because here in Ghana, the weather is very bad, I guess everywhere, but he's seen it through the network challenges and that everything has been successful. Thank you. And once again, thank you for making it. This is your host, Kingsley Hayford of Ansfit Finance team.